questioned the handling of a suspension, emphasizing proper governance. While supporting DCP Junior Benjamin as acting commissioner, he stressed the need for professionalism. William urged the police service to stay focused on crime fighting and ensure stability in Tobago's security efforts. And finally, Parliament yesterday approved Junior Benjamin as Acting Commissioner of Police and Kurt Simon as Acting Deputy Commissioner of Police. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley admitted providing information to police that was sent to the DPP but denied government interference. Rowley emphasized trust in the Independent Police Service Commission and distanced his administration from the sniper rifle probe that led to the Commissioner of Police Earl Yearwood Christopher's suspension. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Biana, for our news there in 90 seconds. And before we go to our little conversation this morning, I just want to pick up on something that came out there in the news where Curtis, the chairman of Tobago Chamber, was talking about the transition from the Earl Christopher Yearwood, being on suspension now, and now we have DCP Benjamin acting, before he gets his instruments there, and talking about the transition in terms of the arrangements they made for repairing of vehicles. Yes. And sometimes you'll overlook some things, but I'm thinking, I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a conversation, because if we're talking about the operation of a service in Trinidad and Tobago and somebody else takes the office, I would believe that the situation is supposed to, it should be continuous. Yes, it shouldn't be something that you have to think about to think, oh my gosh, no, we're not going to get the vehicles. And I'm hoping that that is not the case. I don't think it would be, but just to pull that out there and thinking that some things are just a smooth transition, and in this case it should be, because security of Trinidad and Tobago, and primarily Tobago, is a very, very important issue. And we know we came out of 2024 leading down to the end of the year. So I believe that it would be, I don't see it coming off, the agenda for having Tobago in a better place, in strengthening the efforts to fight crime here in Tobago. So let's hope that that is not the case. I don't see it as being an issue. So, that's just where I stand with that. Yeah. But I know there are more exciting things we want to talk about this morning in banter. Biana, of course, thank you for bringing our news there. Yes. I know there are things you want to talk about this morning, so let me know what's happening in your neck of the woods and what's exciting you this morning.
Well, what's exciting me is PAN is still continuing. So now we are in the judging part of the medium category of the bands.
Into department is upcoming as well. Yes. How do you participate, or what are your views?
Well, of late I don't really participate that much, but I still love my steel PAN. There's something about the preliminary phase where you have to travel from one PAN side to the next PAN side. It's really exciting, and hearing the music and following the arrangement is really something that excites me. And Tobago has been doing pretty well this year in the panorama. We had 8 bands. All 8 of our small bands qualified for the semi-finals in the small band category. Yes. And we hope that the medium bands could do the same. We have a lot of young, exciting arrangers coming out of Tobago in the past few years. And, it's just an exciting time for PAN in Tobago. The inter-department is always well supported in Tobago. It's an exciting time. The staff of the THA and the wider Tobago public, they just love the whole idea of the competition. And a lot of these amateurs going up against each other is a time for laughter and joy and camaraderie. So it's something really to look forward to.
The Calypso segment of it, eh?
Absolutely. And it's just so amazing that the platform is being used to bring out the talents here in Tobago, because there are some people sitting behind desks that you didn't even know could sing. You didn't know could, take a stage, command a stage, and have people like really listening to them and paying attention to what they're saying and what they're doing. Even touching on current and social issues here in Tobago. So I really appreciate the efforts that are being put into these events to ensure that the culture of Tobago stays alive. Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Biana, for joining us on set this morning and bringing our news there in 90 seconds. And of course, I hope you are remaining consistent in all that you are doing. And we will, of course, see the results in the end. Thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for staying with us this morning. We're going to head on over to the segment where we celebrate with those who are celebrating. It's time for our birthday shout-outs. This morning we want to say happy birthday. Today is your birthday and we will celebrate with you. Suzette Walters, you are celebrating a birthday today and we say happy birthday to you. We do pray God's blessings upon your life and we hope that you have a wonderful birthday season. I hope you get to smile, laugh, be merry today and the rest of your birthday season. So happy birthday to you. Travis Alexander, he's also celebrating a birthday today. And Travis, we say happy birthday to you. We pray God's blessings upon your life and we do hope that you have an amazing birthday today and a birthday season as well. So happy birthday to you there as well. And of course, if you are celebrating a birthday, you're celebrating an anniversary, a promotion, graduating, whatever you are celebrating this morning, the Tobago Updates television family, we join in the celebration with you and we remind you to put God first in your celebration. Remember, He is the sole reason why there's even anything for you to celebrate. So do not leave Him out of this. You might be wondering, Akinlabi, who are we having conversations with this morning in studio? Who can our viewers, lock into to hear talks this morning?
Well, this morning we have Mr. Anselm Richards, former member of the TTPS and the Chief Technical Advisor to the THA. He would be sitting in with us to talk about the ongoing situation with our embattled former COP, Earl Haywood Christopher. He would also be speaking about the TPP screening, as we know that he has been rumored to be a candidate going up for the Tobago East seat. So he will be...
Cafe, the buffet restaurants, or if you are having a cookie in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high quality innovative aluminum and glass products for
best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorns Place with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorns Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. And we have on set with us today Mr. Anselm Richards, former member of the TTPS and Chief Technical Advisor to the Tobago House of Assembly. Mr. Richards, how are you doing this morning?
I'm fine, thank the Lord. Good morning. Thanks for having me. Good morning, Tobago, wherever in the world you are.
Okay, Mr. Richards, and you know that we are having conversations, ongoing conversations about the situation concerning former COP, the embattled Earl Haywood Christopher. And we just want to get your thoughts on the entire situation as the TTPS finds themselves again in another major challenge.
Well, for me, and I don't know if you have seen my Facebook post on this matter. I've made 2 Facebook posts on this matter. For me, this is a situation that should have never happened, because there are clear procedural issues of how you treat with investigation, especially when you're investigating senior officer, and particularly when you're investigating officers for offenses that are not clear, like misbehavior in public office. The procedural issue will be that you will gather your evidence, interview all the persons, the suspect, all the related parties, gather the evidence, and then you will engage with the DPP, who will sift the evidence and see whether you have enough evidence to substantiate the charge you have intended to prefer against the individual on the
arrest.
Well, it's not justified on the evidence that the investigating officer had at the time. If they had sufficient evidence to make the case against the commissioner, the case that they were investigating, then when the evidence was presented to the DPP would have evaluated the evidence and then concur with the arresting officer that sufficient evidence was available to make the charge in the court of law. That has not happened. So one will logically deduce from this that the evidence that the investigating officer had in his or her position at the time was not sufficient to justify the arrest of the Commissioner of Police.
And now we find ourselves in this debacle. This has happened. It did not go the way it was supposed to go in terms of protocol.
Well, this is the way it was supposed to go.
Okay, now we're talking about...
this is the intent of the investigating
officer.
officer.
Now we're in this situation, having arrested the most senior officer in the TTPS without sufficient evidence for a matter that you brought before. This is what we wanted to investigate. You don't have sufficient evidence. Arrested the officer, detained, questioned, and released because of lack of evidence. And now we are here. The cop is now on suspension, not able to take back up position. What now happens, I don't want to talk about the cop right now, we'll get into that, but what now happens to the process that was taken place, or the persons who were involved in the process that was taken place, going to arrest the officer without sufficient evidence to form a case? Where do we go from here where that is concerned? Because the focus has been on the cop. Should she return to office? Should she return to office? But what is happening now to the officers who effected the arrest?
2 things are happening here. One, you have the issue of the conduct of the investigating DCP, right? That needs to be treated with by the Police Service Commission in terms of whether she acted properly and whether there is a case for she to answer for misbehavior or bringing her office into public disrepute. That's for me, and I've made that post in my Facebook post. The other issue is whether this Police Service Commission acted properly in discharging its responsibility and function of supervising the DCP and the Commissioner of Police, and whether they have done due diligence and a fair assessment of the evidence to justify their decision to suspend the Commissioner of Police. I don't think that was done. Because if you use the same evidence on which the investigation DCP went to the DPP which was rejected, to suspend the Commissioner of Police, it means, therefore, the Police Service Commission erred in its responsibility to do due diligence and even to follow the basic principle of justice, where the commissioner has a right to be heard in her own defense, the principle of natural justice, where the commissioner has a right to be heard in her own defense. At least the Police Service Commission, the Commissioner of Police is a constitutionally created position, it's not really about the individual. The Commissioner of Police is a constitutionally created position, it's not really about the individual, it's about the office. And more so, all these things are happening in a time when we are in a state of emergency, and you are taking action that can plunge the country and the nation into a deeper sense of insecurity.
And that's my next line of questioning, because now we're talking about the public trust in the TTPS. We're already in a volatile position.
Very volatile.
And now we have this situation where we're thinking this unit, this team, this organization, this agency is responsible for ensuring my safety, your safety, the safety of all the residents here in Trinidad and Tobago. And now there's a situation, an internal situation that was made public, and we're wondering if you are, the due diligence was not done on an internal matter. But how is it filtered out
to the public? And that's a significant point, because these internal wrangling and power struggle that is emerging and looking like and tasting like a mutiny is not comforting to the average man in the street or even the international community that have significant deep relationship with the country. It's a very embarrassing and unfortunate situation for all of us as citizens of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Here you have a Deputy Commissioner of Police arresting the Commissioner of Police on insufficient evidence for a charge that she's investigating. And that's supposed to really engage the attention of the National Security Council that is chaired by the Prime Minister, and some kind of deliberate action should be taken to ensure that things like these do not happen in the police service again. For me, it is difficult for me to consume that all these events happen without the knowledge of the chair or the leader of the National Security Council. The National Security Council is the highest entity, the body that deals with our national security arrangement, right? That is the Senate, in other words, you call that. In the United States, they talk about the Senate. That's the highest body. It makes all the national security strategy decision, and then the other agencies of the national security architecture go and implement. So it comprises the Prime Minister as chair, the Attorney General, the Minister of National Security, and all the head of the national security agencies. So they come together and make all the necessary policy decision and action and strategy to ensure the safety of the nation. It is challenging for me to wrap my mind around the fact that all these things are happening. The commissioner is suspended by the Police Service Commission, a DCP arrested commissioner, and the chairman of the National Security Council has no knowledge of all these things are happening.
Mr. Richards, do you think that the national security should be micromanaging investigations of the TTPS?
This is not an ordinary investigation, This is the investigation of the top cop, a constitutionally created post. This is the Commissioner of Police. This is not an ordinary constable.
And who represents the TTPS in the National Security Council?
The Commissioner of Police.
So if the Commissioner of Police is being investigated,
but the point
how does the message get to them to make them aware that she's being investigated?
Well, right. So no. What I'm saying is that if the commission and the nature of this issue, remember the allegation here, as reported by the investigating DCP and the team of executive that was standing in her presence. The concept we just have done so in her presence. We have done by the place down there called the Shaw Park. That was standing in her presence at the time. They spoke to the fact that the commissioner was being investigated for allegedly unlawfully procuring rifles for the SSA. Right. The SSA director normally sits in the National Security Council. Right? The Commissioner of Police has the authority in law to issue importation license, the only person in the country, not even the Prime Minister, not even the Minister of Trade. The Commissioner of Police is the person who issues and signs off on license to issue firearm license and to issue firearm dealer's license to import firearm into the country, because that is a control, a national security control activity.
Yes.
So the Commissioner of Police may have signed off on the importation license for these rifles for SSA. But allegedly at the time, SSA was still classified as a civilian intelligence agency in the national security architecture. The director of the SSA, it is reported, made a case to the National Security Council for the SSA to become an armed agency of the national security. That was accepted, and the Firearm Act and Regulation were amended in November last year for that to happen. What happens between that time and how the procurement of these rifles happen? The movement from a civilian agency to an armed agency cannot escape the attention and approval of the National Security Council. You do the maths and see if it's maths.
Now, I know you mentioned earlier about a mutiny in the TTPS.
I say appears to be.
Appears to be a mutiny in the TTPS.
It smells like and tastes like a mutiny. I did not say it was a mutiny.
Oh, good.
Please,
good.
do
Well,
not say that.
I stand corrected. Earlier this week, we had Captain Guy Griffith in on the program, and he spoke about a culture of infighting within the TTPS. You being a former member of the TTPS, is it your experience that there's a lot of infighting within the TTPS? And what really drives that? What is causing this level of infighting within the organization?
Right. So in every organization, there's always that culture of, I won't call it infighting, that culture in terms of the race to the top. Let me put it like that. The culture of the race to the top. And in that culture, you will always have individuals that are less cooperative and more combative. You know, they're competing as opposed to cooperating. And that's what they are defining as the fight. That's a natural feature in any institution. What has happened in recent time is that it seems, or it appears that culture has become more pronounced in the police service. So it's more visible that people are now struggling more aggressively to reach to the top. But I think that is a natural feature of all institutions where people are ambitious and they are looking for promotion and for offices and so forth. But apparently it is appearing now that culture have now elevated to the point that it is apparently impacting the performance of the institution.
I was not going to say, Mr. Richards, the ramifications for that kind of culture existing within an arm of the national security apparatus is far-reaching. When you have something like the TTPS, where they're infighting, from the time you start fighting
highly
amongst
unfortunate,
yourselves.
not to cut you across, highly unfortunate, because it centers back again to public trust, public confidence.
Exactly.
Because when we look at the state of crime, especially in the last half of last year, what crime looked like in Trinidad and Tobago, and here you are thinking that these are the persons, the agency who is responsible for ensuring that they have an arm on crime, and then they're fighting amongst themselves based on the discussion that we're having this morning. It is very unfortunate that we are in that position. I don't have a problem with ambition. We all are ambitious. We all want to attain something. But the ambition in this case, if that's what is happening here, is highly, highly misguided, and it has taken the wrong course where this is concerned. And I'm hoping my primary thing here is to find out what are the steps that are going to be taken for the way things were done in the arrest of the cop. That is my primary question. What is going to happen next? How do you restore public confidence in the TTPS? How do I feel safe? How do I feel secure that, let's say something happens or a matter has happened and you send out a team and this one want to be the sergeant and this one want to be the superintendent? How do you mitigate that? And how am I certain that the case that I have presented is going to be addressed and that I'm going to get the best results and justice is going to be served? Because now we have this position where people are fighting amongst themselves based on what we're seeing happening here.
Well, the fighting is taking place, but remember too, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, as any other paramilitary and military agency, there's a chain of command, and there's a what I will call a forced institutional discipline. So even if there's that level of ambitious war, for want of a better term, or for just for the purposes of this conversation, there's that disciplinary structure in terms of the hierarchical.
But we haven't heard any conversation about that.
Right. So that is there as in every institution. You remember what happened in the PNM recently when the Prime Minister tried to promote the Chinese Prime Minister? You know what happened in the PNM, and they had to call emergency meeting in Balazi House. It's human beings you are dealing with. And we all have that indigenous gene in our DNA. And the police officers are no different. They are picked and they are drawn from our population. They are not AI people. And they have that human tendency to want better improvement for themselves and their family and even their country. So I would not put a price on that. I would not put a price on that. The issue is, as you said, how do we move forward? What are the kinds of intervention we should be taking to stabilize and restore the public confidence, which is already weak in the police service? How do they treat with the behavior and conduct of the investigating DCP to restore confidence in her office? Because I don't know if that could happen, or whether she probably needs to take some leave. Right? So that is something for the Police Service Commission and Mr. Junior Benjamin, Pastor Benjamin, and I wouldn't call him the bulletproof pastor at this point, but Pastor Benjamin and the Police Service Commission to treat it going forward.
Well, let's see how we move forward with this matter, and try TTPS. All you have to restore public confidence. Definitely has to happen.
As I said in the start, it is an unfortunate incident that should have never happened because of how the police service is structured. And if you have respect for the commissioner office, there are a million ways to do different things.
Clearly, the structure falling apart, because if things could happen like the way it happened,
well, sometimes when you put the wrong
institution is weak.
Sometimes when the wrong individual is in the wrong place and they can't handle the power and the authority that comes with office. Now, let me tell you something. Authority comes in 3 forms: position, functional, and possession.
Right,
operationalize those things.
Mr. Richards, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to you live from the Port Mall here in Scarborough, Tobago, and we're speaking with Mr. Anselm Richard, Chief Technical Advisor to the Tobago House of Assembly and a former member of the TTPS. As you are aware, there's an ongoing situation in Trinidad and Tobago that took place last week and is continuing. The conversation is in the air, and the question posed is, should the COP be reinstated? We don't know, but we're going to have the conversation. We're going to do the research, get the information, have the discussions right here on Tobago Updates Television, and we do hope that you can join in the conversation with us. But we have to go for a short break before we continue conversations this morning. But before we go, there's a photo of the day. We want to take you to the photo of the day. Can you guess where this photo was taken? Yes, please tell us. Let us know in the comments on our Facebook live stream and our YouTube channel. Where was this photo taken in beautiful, beautiful Tobago? I think it's quite easy to figure this one out. But when we come back from the break, we're hoping that you can leave comments on our Facebook live stream. In the meantime, as we go for a break, we invite you to help us share the live, share the live, share the live.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 GB fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. Did you guess it? Did you guess where that photo of the day was taken? The photo of the day was taken at the Buku Beach, is what I'm being told, and I hope that you guessed it right. It's quite easy to figure it out. If you look there, you will see the shoreline there right along the Buku Beach. So that's where the photo of the day is taken from today, and we must give credit to the person who submitted that photo today. Let me get that correct pronunciation of that name for you. It is Rashid Zaire of Caribbean Photographers submitting that photo this morning. We continue conversations this morning. In studio, we still have with us Mr. Anselm Richards. He's the Chief Technical Advisor to the Tobago House of Assembly and former TTPS member. We switch gears a little bit this morning, and as you are aware, screening process is taking place for the TPP as they prepare for the general elections. So screening for East and West Tobago candidates, nominees rather, have put themselves forward for screening to be the selected candidate for the general election. And Mr. Richards, you are among the men, the great men who have presented themselves for nomination. So, talk us through the process. What was the decision like in terms of, hey, let me put myself forward for office?
Well, for those of you, for Tobago, my politics is no secret to Tobago and Tobagonian. I've been in the political space for over 25 years. My advocacy is known from the east to the west to the north to the south, not only on the island of Tobago, but probably regionally. I choose every opportunity to ensure that Tobago's rights and entitlement are protected, promoted, and defended. I do that without fear of contradiction, without fear of saying that I'm a Tobagonian. That has been my motto. That is actually my DNA. I am not afraid. I fiercely defend Tobago anywhere I go. And Tobago's right. I take on ministers, I take on anybody when it comes to Tobago. So looking at the decision to really happen earlier last year around the budget time, when the budget was being debated in the National Parliament, and having worked centrally in the preparation of the Tobago budget and estimates, and I recognize that the conversation in the National Parliament was not really reflecting the issues, the intimate issues that are affecting our development and are presenting significant challenges for us in Tobago to advance the lives of Tobagonians. I think we required a more deliberate type of representation in the Parliament. The Chief Secretary will tell you, I tell him, I say, get me a temporary appointment in the Senate. Let me go and tell the Tobago story.
With the confidence, the confidence you have is just absolutely amazing. And, talking about the confidence, what do you think? There are other persons in your party who have presented themselves as well. What gives you that push, the notch above the rest? Well, what makes you feel as if, I feel I'm the best man for this race?
Well, I will leave you to be the judge of that. My history, I think everybody...
I can't be the judge. You have to tell me.
But I think my work and my politics precedes me. I don't think I have to sell myself as a politician. I have been doing that for the last 25 years. Or a person who is capable of really presenting true representation for Tobago. I have been in the forefront of most of the development challenges that Tobago is facing, from the internal self-government movements to development policy, writing development plans, working closely with the executive of the THA, both under the Over London administration and this administration. I don't know if you know, I was head of the PRDI. So my intimacy with the issues is unparalleled. It's unparalleled. I live this every day. This has been my work for the last 25 years.
And going in there, I know you mentioned the budget and the representation of Tobago in the Senate and the House. What is the primary thing, your primary focus, if you are successful? What is that primary thing that you want to ensure you attend to for the people of Tobago, should you be successful?
Well, the critical issue that is facing Tobago is really our right to self-determination. We cannot really change the Tobago landscape without having the authority to determine what happens in our space. The current constitutional construct denies Tobago that opportunity to redefine the space and to develop the space the way we wanted. The Chief Secretary would have established, and the party, the TPP, would have established a very ambitious ambition for Tobago, that to make Tobago the greatest little island on the planet. That has to give us some legislative authority to shift some of the things that we are doing. Currently, if we want to regulate the small boat sector in Tobago, jet skis and things, we can't make no law to do that. You can't change the country. If you want to change culture, you change culture through the legislative framework, through law. So you can bring up a new behavior and you can take down one legally, and you change people's behavior. That's the institutional lever. You have to change culture in a short thing. If you allow culture to be changed organically, it takes a long time because people are comfortable in traditional behavior and all of that. But if you want to make radical shift to how we function in Tobago, you have to have legislative authority. And if you recall, when there was the little spat between the chief secretary and the prime minister, he said they can't make law in Tobago. So we know that the fundamental problem that is affecting us in Tobago, in order for us to develop this space and transform the lives of Tobagoans, is our authority to make laws.
So, Mr. Richards, you just spoke about the authority to make laws in Tobago. And we know that Tobago only has 2 seats. Let's just say, hypothetically, the TPP wins the both seats. What real power do you think you would have in the parliament to bring about that legislative power and authority that you want the THA to have?
Right. So if you understand the political construct of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, there are 41 seats. The margin in Trinidad is very close. The current central government is in office because of the Tobago seat. The minute the TTP, the Tobago People's Party, captures those seats, I think we hold the balance of power. We can determine who formed the central government in Trinidad. That gives us significant leverage in terms of who we support and how we support that party in Trinidad, and what are the negotiating points for that engagement, for that partnership, or for that arrangement to put that party in government.
But Mr. Richards, we've seen that arrangement take place twice before, once in 1995 and once in 2010, and we still didn't get the kind of legislative authority that we wanted. The arrangement didn't go in the way that we expected.
Are you married?
I used to be.
No,
but
right.
The point is this.
And because you used to be.
No,
I want to make a point before we move on.
Let me finish before you think, right? So what now, what about 2025 would make it different? Negotiating your 2 seats to have some sort of authority.
Life is not static. And the point I wanted to make with you when I asked you if you were married is that because persons are divorced and marriage has failed, will you not marry again? Will you not love again?
Yes, I would.
Right. So the point I'm making is that, yes, history records and informs, but history does not determine the future. You have an opportunity now to construct an arrangement based on negotiation that gives you the opportunity to effect the kind of legislative transformation that is required to move this island. You cannot say because you have failed 2 times, 3 times, we ain't going to do it, and you stand up with your hands in the air. You have the life of a people in your hands, and you have to take all the necessary and required action to ensure that you get the kind of levers that you need to transform and improve the lives of the big one. And you cannot stand still on the history that has failed before.
So what is the different strategy going forward?
It is a new party that have never engaged in something like that. New representative, new vision, a new system of engagement in the parliament. A new system. You have to go into the parliament, turn on the Tobago light, create the Tobago system, that the Tobago representative become the green olive tree. The green olive tree in the parliament, so that the issues that are affecting the development of Tobago can be illuminated by the presence and the quality and the standard of representation. So the nation and the world will come along with you and you shift the whole dynamics.
So we have an idea about your stance in terms of what you're going to do in parliament to empower the Tobago House of Assembly. But I want to hear from your perspective, what are your plans to empower your constituents in that area should you be selected?
Well, that's the foundation of development. Development is about the people. Development, for me, is about the people. And if you are representing people, you have to mobilize them, you have to organize them, and you have to arm them with the resources in terms of knowledge capital to understand their role and responsibility in the development process, their rights and entitlement as communities in terms of they taking responsibility for the management of their communities. You ever hear about social capital? Long time we have, why the country is in the state it is. Long time when you were growing up, I don't know how old are you, but I know that there was a thing called social control in the community. Where you take a village to raise a child. You could not do something wrong, because there was that social pull against you doing something wrong that keep you in line. We have to bring back our communities together, build the social capital, build cohesiveness, empower people. Development is about people, you know. Development is not about building roads and bridges. Those are necessary. Those will come along. But the sustainable factor, the sustainable component of development is your human capacity, your human capability, and your institutions. So you have to develop those things, social institution at the community level, because there's a need for community to manage some aspect of the activity in their spaces. So if you don't do that, you will build all the bridges, and we'll build all the community centers, and the people remain the same.
Mr. Richards, of course, having conversation with you is so engaging, and we wish we had more time to continue this morning. But
I have time, I don't know what you have.
Airtime is paid for. So let us.
I could pay, what's it?
Mr. Richards,
let me talk to Tobagonians.
Let me tell you.
How much it will cost for me to stay for the rest of the program?
Let me tell you all the best in your screening, and we wait for the results to see who is selected to represent the TPP there for both Tobago East and Tobago West in our general elections. We do hope that you have a wonderful day, a wonderful season, and you continue to advocate for Tobago in the way that you didn't have to market, but you ended up marketing anyway on air this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to go for a short break, but before we go, here's a photo of back in the day in Tobago. Can you figure out where this photo was taken back in the day? I'm trying to remember the period in which this photo was taken, but if you know anything about Tobago, you should be able to identify where this is. And when we come back from the break, of course, you can drop your responses in our Facebook live stream comments. I see the guests on set here trying to guess where it is, and that's fine. You can go ahead and try to guess. In the meantime, viewers, you can drop your responses on our Facebook live stream. But we have to go for a short break before we continue conversations in studio, and we do hope that you could stay with us as we do continue these conversations. But in the meantime, can you help us to share the live, share the live, share the live? We'll be right back.
Love, soca, zest, and steam. Thursday, 13th February, the night before Valentine's Day. Fellas, come out with me. Ladies, you and your team to experience one of TNT's most requested artists, Young Brother.
She said, take it easy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up
Young Brother live at Village Vibes Bar, Mason Hall.
I wanna wine on your bumper, I know you like steam.
Young Brother live for an uncut, up-close performance.
You make it jump and you make it jump.
Alongside DJ Hottie, Ish and Selector Father, MC Sticks, King Legal, Busy and DJ Fusion. Early bird tickets, 3 ladies on 1 ticket, $450. Single, $200. Available at Pablo Supermarket Argyle, Royal Castle Outlet Scarborough, Ramabar, Joefield Junction, Mongrace, Crown Point Gas Station, and Village Vibes Bar. Call 750-6258 or 686-0898 for one night only. The King of Steam, Young Brother live, the night before Valentine at Village Vibes Bar, Mason Hall.
This is what I like the pot.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax, we will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place, place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. We're just at 7:55 a.m. So if you're getting to work for 8 a.m., you might already be late if you're not there. However, if you are still on our nation's roads, remember to get there safely this morning. That's the most important part of your morning, getting there safely. Can you guess where the photo of back in the day in Tobago was taken? Let's put that photo back on the screen this morning and let's see if anyone guessed it this morning. That photo was taken on Main Street in Scarborough, Tobago. If you can put your finger on it, where the white vehicle, the white car, the sedan is parked, that is where the well-known Fruit King, that is where he parks now. Yes, that's where his stall is set up. So that is where that photo is taken from this morning. So Tobago back in the day, I can't tell you exactly what time period this photo was taken, but back in the day, that's where that building is. All right, we continue conversations this morning in studio and we shift gears a little bit this morning. We're speaking with Kimari Richardson Thomas, Public Relations and Centennial Ambassador, and Nikosi Fletcher, member of the School of Language Department of the Bishop's High School, and we're talking about 100 years of love. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
Indeed, a pleasure to have you here. And first and foremost, let me say congratulations. 100 years is not, it didn't happen overnight, clearly. You know, it took 100 years and not without challenges to get this institution to where it is. And so now we're celebrating, of course, indeed. It is a reason and a cause to celebrate, but we celebrated something special this time around. So let's get into the conversation this morning as we celebrate.
Well, we are celebrating 100 years of Bishop's High School, Tobago. It's our centennial year. And with that, we have a range of activities to not only encourage our alumni to be a part of and to bring them home, those who are out of the national space, but it's also an extension for persons living in Tobago. Because one of the things that we've acknowledged is that Bishop's history is Tobago's legacy. And one of the activities that we have coming up right now will be that 100 years of love that we'll be celebrating next week. And Nikosi is going to give you a bit more detail on that because it's a packed event, but he will give you some more information.
All right, so let's get into it.
All right, so on February the 14th, that is next week, Friday, we will be hosting a 100 Days of Love Valentine's Day brunch at the southern car park of our school, Bishop's High School, near to our recently constructed canteen facility. It will be done in loving tribute to our dearly departed, Mrs. Suzette James Stewart. So the theme of it is Venez manger, a French tribute. All right. So we at Bishop's High School, being the first co-ed school on the island and have a rich history of French language and French instruction, we are paying tribute to the educators before us. And myself, I'm a French language educator at the school. We're paying homage to people like Mrs. Angela Sosa and Miss Giovanni Campbell, who were both recipients of the highest the highest civilian award for French language and instruction given by the French government. So we really want to pay homage to Mrs. James Shaw. She was a teacher par excellence. She taught me and fueled and ignited my passion for foreign languages. What can we expect? On the menu, we have the meat option, we have the fish option, we have authentic French cuisine. So we have things like des croissants, we have des quiches, des fromages, different types of French cheese. All right. We have non-alcoholic wine. Of course, we're on the school compound, so we want to keep it civil. All right. We also have fresh fruit juices. We have freshly baked bread and Accra and local delectables such as that. What is the cost of this? All right. The brunch box costs $100. All right. So I think really it's a competitive price for a quality product. I can assure you that we had rave reviews last year on 99 Years of Love, and that will continue undoubtedly in this year's iteration. I could tell you that in terms of entertainment, because we know that people want the opportunity to interact one with another. So we're having between the hours of 12 and 1, the brunch is scheduled to begin at 10 a.m. So between the hours of 12 and 1, persons will be regaled with jazz entertainment. So people can really chit chat and have a good time in the space. How can you collect tickets? Tickets can be collected at the Centennial's office. The Centennial office headquarters, which is at our Bishop's High School, the first floor of our canteen facility. Persons can also contact us at 265-265-2025. 260, my apologies, 260-2025. And they can contact any person that is on the Centennial committee, led by Ms. Zelma Cowie and Mrs. Claire Braffett Alexander.
And I like the way you didn't even give me an opportunity to ask one single question. You just rattled it off, and I felt the passion there, and I felt as if I was in the space where this event is going to take place. Now tell me, what is the dress code going to be like? Because it's all France. So
if persons want to come in authentic French regalia, by all means, but we're really inviting the entire Tobagonian community. As Ms. K,
so it's not just for
Bishop's alumni past students. We really want the entire Tobagonian community to come out, because as Ms. K alluded to the fact that Bishop's history is a Tobago legacy. So we want everyone to venir manger avec nous.
Venez manger avec nous. Did I get it correctly?
Yes, you
oh
did.
my
Fantastic.
goodness. Oh my goodness. And talking about Bishop's High School being a Tobago thing, how is that going to be translated in this event? How do you bring out the Tobago-ness in the event that is going to take place next Friday?
All right, so we are going to have local items. So we have our freshly baked dirt oven bread. We have Accra, we have saltfish, bacon saltfish, we have chocolate tea. So there's going to be that infusion. So it's a mélange, as the French would say, of the French and the local cuisine.
Oh, sounds absolutely amazing. And I know that you might have a ticket giveaway taking place right here on the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. So you need to stay tuned and listen to the question or however it's going to be done to get the opportunity for a ticket to be a part of this extravagant event.
Yes.
So how do viewers win that ticket?
So we would ask the question, and persons have the opportunity to call in and provide us with the answer, or they can WhatsApp at your number. That is your 284-6597, 284-6597. And you can WhatsApp the answer or call in directly. And the question is related to Bishop's High School. And we can go ahead and give the question. Sure. The question that you're being posed with today is, what is the motto of Bishop's High School, Tobago, and in what language is it written in? What is the language of the motto for Bishop's High School? What is that motto and what is the language? So we await your responses.
So it's a two-part question. So if you get one part correctly, and we can't give you a half of a ticket. So you have to come in real good. So you must know what the motto is, and you must know the language in which it is written if you want to qualify to win this ticket. So you can either call or WhatsApp on 284-6597, submit the correct answer to this question to, for the opportunity to win this ticket, to be a part of this wonderful event that is going to be taking place next week, Friday. And now it's taking place from, tell me the time again, the time frame.
So we will begin at 10 a.m. and we conclude at 1 p.m. Just a reminder to everyone that from 12 to 1 we'll have jazz entertainment, and we're inviting as many persons as possible to purchase their tickets beforehand, so we can have a really seamless distribution on the day. In addition to which, we, in our Centennial year, we have a host of activities lined up, separate and apart from this event. We have activities in March right up to July. So let me just give you a little bit about that. So in March, we have a youth forum in the form of a student debate. We have a documentary that will be showcased, really understanding and appreciating the women trailblazers as Bishopians. We have a Bishop's Men in Leadership. We have a Mecca event for all Bishopian fashion designers that will take place in the month of May. On June the 6th, we mark our 100 days to our 100-year celebration. We have also in the month of July or bragging rights at Bishop's High School, I tell you, the inter-house rivalry is something that is unparalleled.
We know that also well.
Unparalleled. And we're having that on July the 4th. And then in August, the 16th and 17th, we have a cross-country road relay type of thing, which will lead into our September month, which Ms. K will just give you a brief description of.
And I know that we are running out of time, but I just needed to indicate that when we get to September, it will be an explosive month for all of what it is we have planned, because this is the culmination of all that we've done for that past year. Leading up to September 14th, Founders Day, we will have our award ceremony for 100 Bishopians. We are going to have our Bishopians in concert. And some people are going to be very surprised at some of our notable alumni who are talented in the arts and culture and so on. Big surprises in store. So we look forward to, staying in touch with the media and letting you know all that's taking place. Mark your calendars. Almost every single month, we are going to have something explosive and dynamic for all of our alumni and the entire island, because Bishop's history is Tobago's legacy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bishop's High School is in the house this morning. And if you know anything about Bishop's High School, I tell you, they,
Yes. We like your colors. We like your colors today. We love your colors today.
Of course. So, ladies and gentlemen, remember that event taking place next Friday, the 14th of February. That's Valentine's Day, the day of love. And Bishop's High School is celebrating 100 years of love. So you want to be a part of that. Remember, there's a ticket that you can win, but you must know what is the motto of Bishop's High School and in which language is it written. So you have to call in or WhatsApp the number 2846597, and of course we will get in touch with you to let you know if you have won and how you can collect your ticket, because you want to be a part of that grand event taking place there next week. And of course, be on the alert for all the other events that are going to roll out as the Bishop's High School celebrate their 100 years of existence here on the island of Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we have to end the morning show on Tobago Updates Television, but it's not where we end our programming. We head on over to GMT, that is Good Morning Tobago. So we do hope that you can stay with us. And as you stay with us, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Students, especially at the CSEC level.
It is back. All the programs you see happening in the West will be in the East, and even more, because while it was down, we were planning how we're going to do a lot of things. So what you see down in the West
being an even more robust and inclusive program, so that we can ensure by a defined date all of Tobago's students and young people can actually swim. You should not live on an island and not be able to swim. And with what we are seeing in terms of climate changes, what we are seeing in terms of the battle with the sea on our coasts, all of our young people from as early as possible should learn to swim.
This pool belongs to you. It is a space for your families to bond, for your communities to gather, and for individuals to focus on their health
was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks a favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers, we are
I am your host, Chanel Felix. And you know, whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's interesting conversation, let's have our news in 90 seconds. High Court Judge Christopher Siu-Chan dismissed Police Commissioner Earl Yearwood Christopher's injunction request against the Police Service Commission's decision to temporarily replace her with Deputy Commissioner Junior Benjamin during her suspension. The judge ruled that leaving the post vacant was inappropriate, emphasizing the necessity of leadership. Despite this, he allowed her to challenge her suspension, citing an arguable case. Yearwood Christopher was arrested over an investigation into sniper rifle imports. The Police Service Commission suspended her after her release. Her legal team, led by Pamela Elder, is contesting the suspension's legality. Additionally, Tobago Chamber Chairman Curtis Williams hopes the suspension of Commissioner of Police Yearwood Christopher won't disrupt security plans for Tobago. He previously collaborated with the TTPS to repair police vehicles and strengthen business confidence. Williams fears her arrest could erode public trust and urges transparency in the investigation. He questioned the handling of her suspension, emphasizing proper governance, while supporting DCP Junior Benjamin as acting commissioner. He stressed the need for professionalism. Williams urged the police service to stay focused on crime fighting and ensure stability in Tobago's security efforts. And finally, the Parliament yesterday approved the Junior Benjamin as Acting Commissioner of Police and Curtis Simon as Acting Deputy Commissioner of Police. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley admitted providing information to the police but denied government interference. Rowley emphasized trust in the Independent Police Service Commission and distanced himself and his administration from the sniper rifle probe that led the Commissioner of Police Earl Yearwood Christopher's suspension. And that was on news in 90 seconds. Now this morning, you know that we are continuing our conversations as we go behind the headlines or beyond the headlines. Now, we started off by chatting with the MP for Tobago East, Ayanna Webster Roy. We then had a conversation with the minority leader, Kelvon Morris, at the minority office, Uptown Scarborough. And yesterday, I had the privilege of chatting with Senator Lawrence Hislop. And this morning, I have in studio with me one of the lone women on the PNM side of the bench at the Assembly Legislature. In the House, we have Councillor Petal Benoit. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Chanel. Good morning, Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago, and wherever you are tuned in to GTM this morning, good morning.
Right. Now, similar to my conversation with Minority Leader Kelvon Morris, you appear to be a very calm person, very calm, very cool, very collected. So, how has that been for you, transitioning from, I mean, it could just be the persona, it could just be what the public interprets, but seemingly very calm and having to be thrusted into the water with the sharks, if I could say. How has that been for you?
It's been an experience. It's been challenging. It's been rewarding. It's also been humbling. And as you described it, trusted, because of course you went into an election with, when parties go into election, yes, some would win, some would lose, but of course you would not think that your party will, come out the one being in opposition. So then when I was approached, we ended up in opposition, the lone minority assemblyman on the PNM bench being Assemblyman Kelvin Morris. I was a bit surprised when I was approached to, be the counselor supporting him in this venture. And for me, the experience, I jumped both feet in. I'm not knowing what to expect, but, I really accepted the challenge with open arms. And it has been a challenge. Of course, the both of us, two persons on the minority side versus 17, 16 on the majority side. And you have had to learn and grow very quickly. We have had 37 sit-ins to date, and for the majority of motions that were laid in the House, almost all of them, the minority leader and I had to contribute to the debate, because of course it's only two persons on the minority side. Then if you take, for example, the last sit-in had two motions, because it was private members' day, as well as the executive council would have brought a motion. So both of us had to contribute to the two motions. So it has been trying. I recall, when we just went into opposition, it felt as if, Tobago and the people of Tobago didn't want to hear you. So, you were talking, bringing your issues, and, it was like, why you don't stop talking? And, that was a challenge. People didn't want to be seen or associated. So, of course, it felt daunting at times, but, we continue to advocate. We continue to hold the administration accountable. And 4 years later, we are seeing now where persons are actually bringing information for us to advocate on their behalf. Persons are reaching out to us, so it has come full circle. It has been rewarding because as a people's national movement, we boast that, we serve in office and out of office. So even while in minority, persons have been, coming seeking assistance for varying issues and situations that we are able to provide however we can from time to time. Some persons just want that support, that listening ear, and being able to support them in their time of need has been a reward. People are looking to you, helps to keep that calmness and that persona.
And what would you say would have been one of the most challenging areas that you had to face in this role so far?
I think one of the most challenging things initially when we had to debate, because yes, I have been a part of organizations that will do public speaking and stuff like that, but actually coming to debate an motion in the House that, would affect policy, would affect people's lives, that was a bit challenging. So at first it was frightening, I must admit, but I think we have grown into the role, both myself and the minority leader, and it's part of the duty now. So whenever there's a sit-in, you come prepared to talk, you come prepared to bring your issues, even speaking at press conferences. Whenever we had to speak at press conferences or even appearing in settings like this, it was a bit challenging, but it's part of the course.
And persons see you as the minority counselor, but they don't really know the person behind the portfolio. Tell us who Petal Benoit is, and how did you even get your start in politics, and what has that journey been like for you?
So Petal Benoit is a wife outside of being minority counselor. I'm a wife. I'm a mother of two boys, 7 and 9, soon to be 10. I am an accountant by profession, so I studied ACCA, so I have professional qualifications. and membership through the Associate of Chartered Certified Accountants. So I am a Chartered Certified Accountant with ICAT, which is the Institute of Chartered Certified Accountants of Trinidad and Tobago. I am an entrepreneur. I am involved in several NGOs in Trinidad and Tobago. I am a former lecturer of accounts at COSTAT. I love to dance. I love to sing. I think the last time I was here, we were promoting,
Dancing with
Dancing with the Caribbean Stars.
Yes.
So, that ended up co-winner with Administrator of Education. So that experience was also, a really good experience. So Petal Benwa is multifaceted.
Understood. So do you think that you are advocating for promoting and trying to function in a higher standard of politics and creating a new culture for how politics is done on the island of Tobago?
I think generally people are looking for a different type of politics. The population, the electorate is looking to politicians to be an example. And now, you don't want to oppose for opposing's sake. You don't want to talk just because, you want to talk, but you talk because you have something to say. You advocate because you're advocating on behalf of someone or you're advocating for something. And I think once you consider that, you are an example, and once you do what is right, one of the things I say to myself all the time, that my word should not be used against me. So, and a lot of times sitting in the seat of the minority, when we persecute a matter, we recognize that the current administration's words are being used against them in varying ways. And for me, I feel you have to be true to yourself. Yes, sometimes situations may change, but as an individual, I feel you could come back and say, these were the things that were promised. Situations have changed. We now have to rethink and reboot and come back again. And I feel once you are honest with the people will accept you.
Understood. And even in your professional capacity as an accountant, when you look at the Tobago's economy, what do you think is the current state or health of the Tobago's economy?
In my personal view, professional view, the Tobago's economy is in crisis. You look around, you hear people talk daily, and you hear the complaints, you hear the cries from individuals, you hear the complaints from businesses. So individuals, persons are in need. This Christmas was a Christmas that for me was unprecedented. You have persons reaching out to myself, the minority leader, persons in the office of the minority, even from November, asking for assistance. Are you doing hampers this year? Can you assist? And you feel the general pain and burden from members of the society. When you also look at the business, you hear businesses complaining about, how they are doing, their profitability, their ability to make an income. And when you look at the numbers, you also see the numbers are in decline. We have a situation where in 2021, we had a Tobago economy of 1.68 billion. The information is, as of 2023, the economy shrank to 1.66 billion. So we are seeing, based on the numbers, there's a decline in the economy. When you look at the sectors, you are seeing a decline in the construction sector. You are seeing a decline in the agriculture sector. You are seeing a decline in the tourism sector. So based on the statistics and based on the complaints of person and based on the general outlook, we are seeing decline, we are seeing crisis.
And even after your party, the People's National Movement, would have lost the last election, you would have seen that there were certain things that fundamentally were not working anymore or were not relevant to the time that we are in. Specifically, we spoke about a type of politics that we are shifting away from. Have you ever witnessed or noticed some areas of politics within the party that you feel like, as a young person, that we need to get away from that you have advocated for personally? Let's say, for instance, when it comes to what happens online, the bullying, the, personal attacks on person's character, and you have felt like, listen, this is not the direction that we want to go in, and you have made your voice heard in that area.
Most definitely, because even as we caucus, to go into the house, we prepare for plenary sittings, we prepare our questions, and sometimes there are some certain questions that, for me personally, I'm not comfortable with the way it's structured or how it's asked. And in our caucus, I will indicate my point of view. I think that we should maybe tweak this question, change the wording, maybe altogether change the question. So yeah, I make my voice heard, even as we are in the process, because we are preparing to return to governance, and we are preparing, our policies. We are preparing ourselves to return to governance. Wherever I feel that, my input is necessary and my voice can be heard, I am prepared to share.
Excellent. And when you look at, women in politics and the role that you have played, in your first term serving as minority councillor, would you encourage women and other young persons to get involved in politics?
Most definitely. I would encourage young persons, I would encourage women to get into politics. I'm not saying that it's an easy task. It is nowhere easy. But I think as women, we are up to the challenge. I think we can do the job that is required as a politician. And I think even as women, in terms of our empathy, in terms of, how we do business, we could also change, how things are done in politics. So generally, I would encourage young persons, and I would encourage women to enter into the political arena.
Excellent. Well, guys, we're going to take a quick break right here, and we are going to continue with this conversation as soon as we return. See you soon.
It's a brand new morning, rise up.
Love, soca, zest, and steam. Thursday, 13th February, the night before Valentine's Day. Fellas, come out with me. Ladies, you and your team to experience one of TNT's most requested artists, Young Brother.
She said, take it easy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up
Young Brother live at Village Vibes Bar, Mason Hall.
I wanna wine on your bumper, I know you like steam.
Young Brother live for an uncut, up-close performance.
You make it jump and you make it jump.
Alongside DJ Hottie, Ish and Selector Father, MC Sticks, King Legal, Busy and DJ Fusion. Early bird tickets, 3 ladies on 1 ticket, $450. Single, $200. Available at Pablo Supermarket, Argyle, Royal Castle Outlet, Scarborough, Ramabar, Joefield Junction, Mongrace, Crown Point Gas Station, and Village Vibes Bar. Call 750-6258 or 686-0898 for one night only. The King of Steam, Young Brother live, the night before Valentine at Village Vibes Bar, Mason Hall.
This is what I make the pot.
So guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago. So it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun
last motion or last transparency emergency roads that were purported to have been required in 2021. Close to 4 years later, only one of those 4 emergency roads were completed. So if they were emergency at that time to facilitate the carnival from taking place, how is it 3 to 4 years later, those quote-unquote emergency roads were not completed? Then we had the issue with the Public Accounts Committee. The Public Accounts Committee of the Tobago House of Assembly, chaired by the minority leader. That committee has not been meaningfully convening to review and conduct the business of the committee. And instead of dealing with the substantive issue of that motion and treating with the motion, what the executive sought to do was to bring another motion that basically clouded out our motion. Their motion lasted until 8 p.m. the night. So it's not until after 8 that the minority had its latitude to pilot his motion. And then while we were participating in the debate, it seems like the executive members didn't want to participate in the debate. Only one person really would have participated, and the secretary, in our opinion, would have abused the standing orders to rebut after the minority leader would have wound up. So we are not of the view, particularly coming out of that last motion and sitting, that the motions of the minority are taken seriously. Even when you look back to the private motion before that, what was debated by the minority, what was brought by the minority rather, was the whole issue of autonomy and coming together as a Tobago House of Assembly, both sides minority Tobago House of Assembly and by the House as a whole. Tobago House of Assembly and by the House as a whole. So with those actions, it is clear that our motions are not taken seriously.
Okay, and do you think that sometimes you go in there feeling like it's a toxic work environment?
Sometimes it does, but we are prepared, we are prayed up, and we go into the house doing the business of the people. Every sitting, a member of the minority is present. I can only recall being absent for one sitting, and that was because I was unwell.
Understood. Now we shift gears a bit to elections. You indicated in our conversation that your party is preparing to return to governance. Does that mean that we will see you putting yourself forward for any one of those constituencies during that THA election?
Well, the People's National Movement, as you are aware, have a process, and when that time comes and the process starts, if the party groups see me fit to nominate me for a position and I go to screening, then the process will take its course.
And are you open to that? Is that something
I
that
am
is
open.
in the cards
Yes.
for you? Well, when it comes to Tobago's economy and Tobago's development and some of the projects that are being done or being quote-unquote stymied in Tobago, this administration has said time and time again that the reason why these projects are not being executed is because lack of collaboration from the central government, or a lack of adequate funding to have these projects done, or just the type of approvals that are needed are not being given to the THA for them to fulfill those developmental obligations that they have to the people. How do you feel about that?
I think that premise is flawed, because if you recall, when this administration was elected to the office to manage the Tobago House of Assembly, the Prime Minister of the Republic, the leader of the People's National Movement, would have brought his entire cabinet to Tobago to meet with the executive of the Tobago House of Assembly so that they can share and learn and collaborate. We had a situation where at every turn, every time there was an issue in terms of fulfilling of promises and delivery, that instead of being accountable, this administration blamed the central government. And if you want to have meaningful collaboration, to me, it is more by deeds and actions rather than by words. So you're cussing the Prime Minister, you're telling the Prime Minister to stay out of Tobago people business in the most disrespectful of manner. You're cussing the Minister of Finance, you're cussing the Minister of Public Utilities. When you are demonstrating that kind of behavior, what meaningful collaboration will that engender? You also have the situation where currently this administration has been allocated the largest allocation over the past, let's say, 5 to 7 years. 2022 to 2025, the latest allocation was 2.6, it's 2.599, 2.6 billion. If you look when compared to 2021, 2022, that was 2.1 $1 billion. So we would have seen year-on-year increase in allocation. In the first instance, 164 million. In the second instance, I think about 15 million. So you would have seen a greater allocation to what was requested. And that was sometime in 2007. So it means all the other times that the PNM would have made a request to the central government, they would have received about 47% of the requests. In this instance, this administration received 66% of its requests. So you have a situation where you are receiving more allocation. Based on your request, you are receiving more percentage terms based on your request, and we are not seeing the returns based on the increased allocation. If you compare that, the PNM had a reduced allocation or a small allocation, yet still the People's National Movement, THA administration, was able to deliver community centers, able to deliver health facilities, were able to acquire land to add to the can afford. And I think it has been receiving increased allocation. And I think what has to happen is that, they need to sit and seriously reprioritize and manage the resources better.
As you reference looking at your personal life, even personally, financially for me, when I look at 2018 and 2022, 2023, 2018 prices are not 2023 prices. So even in your capacity as an accountant, you can also understand that there has to be some accommodation for inflation. And when you have an administration that comes in and has to clear a number of debts that was left from the previous administration, where do you strike that balance between being able to fulfill some of the developmental goals that you have, reprioritize some of your recurrent expenditure, while also satisfying the demands of suppliers who have been owed monies for sometimes upwards of 5 years, having those bills inside the THA and haven't been paid for them. So in your capacity, I mean, you're an accountant, you shift money around all the time. So how do you strike that balance?
To me, that's a part of governance. When the PNM came in 2001, there were bills from the past administration. And as a responsible THA, you had to go to the central government, renegotiate, try and get funds to pay the bills, deal with all your recurrent expenditure while also develop the island. And we have seen the island develop over the years. So inheriting bills is a part of government that each administration coming into office have to deal with. Additionally, you have the situation again of inflated prices, or the inflation, prices being increased from 2018 to now. Yes, that's the case. But when you look at, upon coming into office, the Chief Secretary would have made a statement in the House chastising the past administration about, having inflated bills. And one of the things that the Chief Secretary pointed out is that when he presented the preliminary audit, that based on the audit, a cost of $1,400 to place asphalt was inflated and exorbitant. We have a situation where you compare the prices that are considered inflated, exorbitant, and corrupt. When you compare them to the prices that this administration is prepared to pay for services, that same service to place asphalt, 14 compared to 2,400 or 2,700, that is more than double the amount that is deemed corrupt and inflated. So if you are claiming that that is corruption and inflation, how is it that you are prepared to pay an even greater price? Additionally, one of the things that were mentioned, and I'm going back to the roads because I feel like we need to bring it in context, because one of the things that was said for the increase in prices for those roads is that it is a finance, design, build, finance modality. We have seen now, 3 years later, that 3 of the roads were not completed because the contractors were unable to finance the project. And if that is the situation, it therefore means that you would have increased the costs in the financing for the project. But we have seen where that did not occur. So it means therefore that the funds that would have been spent or allocated to those projects could have gone elsewhere. So if you are quoting that one price low, if that same funding was utilized with the Tobago-based contractors, you will see that funds circulate. You will see that funds circulate in the Tobago economy. You will see people engage. You will see businesses prosper. You will see workers spending monies in the communities, in the corner shops, in the businesses in Tobago. And as a result, you will see the multiplier effect of that policy. But because of the mismanagement and the misuse, that is why we are having some difficulty in having funding to meaningfully develop our island.
Understood. Now, guys, we're going to take a quick break here and we're going to continue with this conversation right after this. See you soon.
Rotisserie, mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can't beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory.
Love, soca, zest, and steam. Thursday, 13 February, the night before Valentine's Day. Fellas, come out with me. Ladies, you and your team to experience one of TNT's most requested artists, Young Brother.
She said, take it easy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up
Young Brother live at Village Vibes Bar, Mason Hall.
I wanna wine on your bumper, I know you like steam.
Young Brother live for an uncut, up-close performance.
You make it jump and you make it jump.
Alongside DJ Hottie, Ish and Selector Father, MC Sticks, King Legal, Busy and DJ Fusion. Early bird tickets, 3 ladies on 1 ticket, $450. Single, $200. Available at Pablo Supermarket Argyle, Royal Castle Outlet Scarborough, Ramabar, Joefield Junction, Mongrace, Crown Point Gas Station, and Village Vibes Bar. Call 750-6258 or 686-0898 for one night only. The King of Steam, Young Brother live, the night before Valentine at Village Vibes Bar, Mason Hall.
This is what I like the pot. Don't run.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Now guys, we have been going beyond the headline and this morning we have been chatting with Minority Councillor Petal Benoit, and this morning we continue our conversation. Now, I believe I've asked all your colleagues thus far, how will you rate the performance of this administration? On a scale of 0 to 10, of course.
4.
Okay.
One, I would give this administration a feeling grade because of how they have managed the economy. 2, based on the promises that they would have made. This administration came into office making a number of promises, one of which I remember clearly about not sending home people and, don't let stick break in your ears. I remember the chief secretary saying it on the campaign train, don't make stick break in your ears and, we will not send you home. We will give you permanent, make you permanent. We will honor the bills of the contractors in spite of how we felt the engagement was. He made those promises, and when they came into office, the first order of business was to send home who they deemed to be political hires or political appointees, dismantle different departments within the Tobago House of Assembly, send home persons from monitoring and evaluation, send home persons in the office of the chief secretary, send home CPEP under the guise of political hiring. Then you would have had a whole number of policies that they would have implemented. You're hearing complaints now about, accessibility of social assistance and that social safety net to persons who are in need. It seems to have become more difficult to access. And, there are a myriad of complaints. The mismanagement of the finances of the Tobago House of Assembly, the poor accountability and the transparency, because they promised greater accountability, they promised greater transparency. We started off seeing mandate Mondays. I think we had about 3, 5, if so much mandate Mondays, and then that just stopped. What about the accountability and transparency? We went to the reprioritization process of the budgets. Promises were also made there of building thousands of homes. Fast forward, I am not sure if we have built one home, one house. And the list goes on and on.
Understood. Do you think that with the work being done to develop the Tobago economy and tourism on the island that
fallout since then, but we have not really heard about what the plan is and what steps will be put in place to implement the plan and the vision. We also see where I think there was some time ago where some investor came from overseas to meet with the chief secretary, and there was an instance where the chief secretary was unavailable after an appointment. I saw that published in the public domain. It was on the news, and I am not sure what would have happened, why the chief secretary was unable to meet with this private investor who would have come from overseas. And when I go back, I want to go back again to the plan. If we don't have a plan, we don't have a vision. And I want to make for instance, a comparison. We have in Tobago, under the past administration, we recognize that one of the issues in terms of our tourism sector is a lack of quality room stock. So one of the things that was being put in place is to attract a brand name hotel that will provide those quality stocks. Then we had the airport expansion because we want to facilitate and improve the airport facilities with that brand name hotel that will attract different airlifts to the island that we are seeing currently existing in St. Vincent and other destinations. And that was a plan that was put in place that was systematically being rolled out. I am not seeing any plan, particularly in relation to tourism, that is being rolled out to improve our limping tourism sector at this point in terms of attracting investment. We hear the complaints, as you indicated, about underfunding. As the Tobago House of Assembly, they have the ability, with the approval from the Ministry of Finance, to seek alternative financing. But with the removal of the Moody's rating and the IMF Article 4 consultations, it becomes difficult to attract some of those alternative financing. I recall under the past administration, when we entered into a bond to try to advance the development agenda of the island, one of the things that were required from the financial institution to approve the bond was our Moody's report. And although we had passed Moody's report at the time, Moody's was currently reviewing and giving us a new report. We actually had to wait until the new report was issued before the loan was approved. And because of the dismantling of some of those things, it can become increasingly difficult for this administration to access greater funding. We have also had, Chanel, in the public domain, where we're speaking about the CAF funding for different activities. I think the THA would have indicated that for the construction of the Scarborough Secondary School, the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Education was or will assist with a loan. But Chanel, what we have heard is that the ministry is still waiting on information from the Tobago House of Assembly to facilitate that loan process. So if we continue to do the business, the people's business, the way that we are currently doing, it will become increasingly difficult to access any funding.
Do you see it important to use your influence with some of your P&M colleagues that are at the central government level, whether it be with the senators or the MP?
No, from time to time, Chanel, we, the minority, have conversations with our colleagues at the central government level when there are issues that arise that we feel that, we can collaborate and contribute to. We make that connection, we have that conversation, because at the end of the day, if it goes well, or whatever is done to improve the lives of Tobagonians, helps us all.
Right. And even as we look at that, I remember during my conversation beneath the surface with Assemblyman Trevor James, he indicated that there was an issue when it came to the development of Scarborough and the new city of Scarborough. And I believe one of the international organizations had pledged financial support to the THA to get the project done. However, what was needed was a non-objection from the central government to approve the funding. So even as the THA has the ability to seek that alternative funding, there's still the issue of the lack of collaboration to get those pieces of the puzzle in place to move forward on Tobago's development.
Quite understandable. And again, I want to take you back to that whole bond arrangement. So the THA then needed to have non-objection or approval from the Ministry of Finance. However, because this facility will be increasing the national debt, the Tobago House of Assembly had to provide relevant information to the Ministry of Finance to provide that non-objection. And again, the issue with this administration is that when they are asked for information, they don't provide the information at all or on a timely manner. So I am not sure under what circumstances that non-objection based on the information of the Secretary of Infrastructure was not forthcoming. I don't know if the Secretary or the division would have provided all the information that was required so that non-objection could have been approved.
And so from time to time, you would do your own personal investigation with your colleagues to find out exactly what people, so they are not enemies at all.
No.
Right. But yesterday I asked Senator Hislop, does he have a favorite secretary or assistant secretary? And I'm going to ask you the same question.
I don't know if I have a favorite secretary or assistant secretary. For me, what the favorite will be is, once they're doing the work of the people and once the division is working in the interest of people, and whichever division is doing that, I support that division.
And which one of those divisions would you say that is?
When I consider, it's difficult to identify one at the time.
Okay. Understood. Finally, before we round up this morning's discussion, there's no denying that on a national level, the conversation regarding the dismissal or the suspension of the former Commissioner of Police, Earl Harewood Christopher, has left a bitter taste in the mouths of the Trinidad and Tobago public, with many questions being raised and a lot of question marks by a number of things. How are you feeling regarding this entire situation?
Well, Chanel, when that situation came in the public domain, it was concerning. And I think even the way it is unfolding, it remains concerning. An investigation is on its way. It's also now a court matter is a part of all that is proceeding, and we just wait to see the outcome of this situation. But it is concerning to me, and I think generally to the national public, this is a cause for concern.
Understood. Well, we want to thank you so much for your time this morning, and thank you for offering some perspectives and giving us a bit look beyond the headlines and what we are able to see in the short clips that we often see you in and in your debates during the House. And as you indicated, your willingness to put yourself up for that next THA election, whether it's at the end of this year or early 2026. So we're going to see you on the campaign trail in the front as opposed to in the back as we move forward. But guys, we want to thank you so much for being a part of this morning's discussion. We want to thank you for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have been doing to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am Chanel Felix, and I am saying to you, have a great day.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise.